Jordan had never imagined that moving to a new planet would come with such strange surprises. The young man had always been a simple person, preferring his quiet life, a steady job, and a place to call home. But when he was assigned to work on a research project on the distant planet, Xandor 9, everything changed. The moment he stepped off the shuttle, he knew this planet wasn't like Earth. The air was thick with a mix of alien scents, and the sky was filled with shades of purple and orange. He had expected to be overwhelmed by the exotic beauty of it all, but what truly struck him was the sheer difference between his world and this one. He had been given a small apartment in a high-rise building, a typical accommodation for workers, which was supposed to be temporary. When he received the message that his roommate had been assigned, he didn't think much of it. After all, it was only a living arrangement. What could go wrong? The problem came when Jordan walked into his apartment for the first time. The walls were lined with alien designs and strange artifacts filled the shelves. But it wasn't the decor that took him by surprise. It was his new roommate. Standing in the middle of the living room was a figure taller than any human, with glowing skin that shimmered in shades of silver and blue. Her features were elegant, almost ethereal, with large, bright eyes that seemed to reflect the starlight. Jordan blinked, unsure if his mind was playing tricks on him. This wasn't just any alien. This was Zara, a member of an alien race known for their beauty and strength. "Hi," Jordan stammered, trying to sound casual as he stepped into the apartment. Zara seemed to notice his awkwardness. "I understand. I'm different, I know. My people don't often mix with humans." Jordan didn't know how to respond to that. He had heard rumors about the different races on Xandor 9, but none of them prepared him for the sight of Zara standing there, looking as out of place as he felt. "I'm sure we'll get along fine," Jordan said, forcing a smile. Zara tilted, her head studying him curiously. "I hope so, but for now I need to meditate. The gravitational shifts on this planet, they affect me." Jordan's mind raced. Gravitational shifts? What did that even mean? He opened his mouth to ask, but she had already turned away, walking toward the corner of the room where a strange, glowing device hummed softly. Jordan stood there unsure of what to do. He didn't want to seem rude, but he also didn't want to invade Zara's space. So he chose to explore the apartment, trying to understand his new living situation. The living room was spacious, though sparsely furnished. He found a small kitchenette off to the side, with a strange assortment of cooking tools and food that he couldn't recognize. The rest of the apartment was similar, simple, functional, and clearly built for comfort, but with a distinctly alien touch. Zara's presence was still on his mind. She was beautiful, yes, but there was something intimidating about her. Her race was known for their strength, and while Zara appeared delicate, there was no mistaking the power behind her movements. And the glowing skin? That was new to him. He had heard that many aliens on this planet had evolved differently, but this was unlike anything he'd ever seen. After a while, he sat down on the couch, hoping the silence would give him some peace of mind. But just as he started to relax, he heard a soft sound. Looking up, he saw Zara standing in the doorway, her eyes meeting his. She hadn't said a word, but there was something in her gaze. Something soft, almost uncertain. "I'm sorry if I startled you earlier," Zara said, her voice quiet now. "It's just, I haven't had many human roommates." Jordan was a bit taken aback by the admission. "You haven't?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. "No. My species prefers solitude. But I will try to adjust. I promise I'm not a threat." Jordan smiled awkwardly. "I never thought you were." There was a long pause, and then Zara took a deep breath. "Thank you. I am not used to this." She gestured around the apartment, indicating the whole situation. "I hope you can be patient with me. I want to learn more about your people But it's difficult. Jordan nodded. I understand. I've never lived with an alien before. I'll do my best to make you feel at home. Zara's gaze softened, and for a brief moment, Jordan saw a flicker of something more than just the serious exterior. It was as if Zara was slowly allowing herself to open up, even if just a little. As they both stood there in the strange silence, Jordan couldn't help but wonder just what he had gotten himself into. But one thing was certain. His life on this new planet was about to be far more complicated than he could have ever imagined. The next few days were a whirlwind of awkward encounters and uncomfortable silences. Jordan was still getting used to his new life on Xandor 9, but now, with Zara living right next door, it felt even more strange. He had expected to spend his time working, maybe making a few friends, but his focus had shifted entirely to Zara. Every morning, they would cross paths in the kitchen. Jordan, trying to keep things normal, would make his breakfast, often fumbling with the alien cooking tools that Zara had left out. Zara, on the other hand, would quietly observe him, offering a polite smile but rarely speaking. Her glowing skin would shimmer faintly in the early morning light, and her large, curious eyes never left him. Despite the obvious differences between them, there was something oddly familiar in her gaze. She wasn't just looking at him. She was studying him, learning how humans lived, just as he was trying to understand her. But every time he tried to start a conversation, she would turn the topic back to something impersonal, always careful not to reveal too much about herself. 1. Evening, after a long day of work, Jordan returned to the apartment, expecting another quiet night. He had planned to relax, maybe watch some old Earth movies on his device, but as he stepped inside, he was surprised to find Zara standing by the window, looking out into the strange alien landscape. The sky was bathed in a soft pink hue, with distant mountains casting long shadows over the city below. "Hey, Zara," Jordan called, stepping closer. "How's it going?" She turned her head toward him, her eyes soft but distant. "It's beautiful here. Different, but beautiful." Her voice was quiet, almost wistful, and Jordan could sense a certain sadness in it. "Yeah, I guess so," Jordan replied, walking over to the kitchenette to grab a drink. He tried to ignore the sudden tension in the air. "I never thought I'd get used to it, but it's kind of growing on me." Zara didn't answer right away, and for a moment, the only sound in the room was the faint hum of the city outside. She finally spoke again, her voice barely above a whisper. "I miss my home," she said, almost to herself. "I miss the gravity of it. My people, we thrive in it. And here, everything feels lighter." Jordan frowned, confused. "Lighter? You mean like less gravity, or—" Zara nodded, her eyes focused on the landscape outside. "Yes, my people. We have a connection to the gravity fields of our home planet. It affects everything we do, our emotions, our thoughts. Here, I feel out of sync. I don't belong." Jordan was taken aback by her honesty. It wasn't often that Zara opened up like this, and he wasn't sure how to respond. "That sounds tough," he said after a moment, "but I think you'll get used to it. I mean, you're here now. You made it this far." Zara turned to face him, her eyes narrowing slightly as if considering his words. "Maybe, but I don't know if," Jordan laughed. "I'm up for a challenge. I've eaten spicy food before. How bad can it be?" Zara raised an eyebrow, but didn't comment further. Instead, she moved toward the small table, motioning for Jordan to join her. "Then we'll start tomorrow. But first I need to meditate. It helps me focus." Jordan nodded. "I get it. I'll leave you to it then." He stepped away, trying to give her the space she needed. But something about their conversation stayed with him. It was the first time he had really felt like Zara was opening up to him, and it made him wonder what else she was hiding behind that calm, distant exterior. Later that night, as he was getting ready for bed, Jordan heard a strange noise coming from the living room. It wasn't loud, but it was enough to make him pause. Hesitant, he stepped out of his bedroom, peering into the darkened apartment. Zara was standing in the middle of the room, her eyes closed as she floated a few inches off the ground. Her skin glowed softly in the dim light, and her posture was perfect, like she was in some kind of trance. Jordan watched in silence, unsure of what to do. He had heard rumors about the abilities of Zara's people, but seeing it for the first time was different. It was both beautiful and a little unsettling. She seemed so at ease with herself, while he couldn't shake the feeling of being out of place. Just as quickly as she had risen, Zara's feet gently touched the floor and she opened her eyes, meeting Jordan's gaze. For a moment, neither of them said anything. "You were floating," Jordan finally said, his voice almost a whisper. Zara nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "It's a part of who I am. My species can manipulate gravity, but it's not something I usually do around others. I prefer to keep it controlled." Jordan couldn't help but be amazed. "That's incredible!" Zara gave him a curious look. "You think so?" He smiled. "Definitely." Zara's smile faded as she looked down at the floor, the moment of connection slipping away. "I should get some rest," she said quietly. Jordan nodded. "Yeah, me too. Good night, Zara." "Good night, Jordan." As Jordan headed back to his room, he couldn't shake the feeling that Zara was more than just a strange roommate. There was something about her that intrigued him, something deep beneath the surface. He only hoped that over time she would trust him enough to share whatever it was that she was hiding. The days began to blend together for Jordan. Life on Xandor 9 was beginning to feel more routine, though it was anything but normal. He had settled into the rhythm of work, coming home to Zara every evening. The awkwardness between them hadn't completely disappeared, but there was something comforting about the silence they shared. Zara was still distant, but she no longer seemed quite so cold. There were moments when her gaze softened, and for brief seconds, she seemed almost human. One evening, Jordan came home later than usual after a busy day at the research facility. He had been caught up with a new project and had lost track of time. As he entered the apartment, he found Zara sitting on the couch, her legs crossed in a meditative position. She was staring at a glowing holographic map of the planet, her fingers moving gracefully through the air, manipulating the display. The soft hum of the technology filled the room, but it was Zara's focused expression that caught Jordan's attention. For a moment, he simply watched her. There was something mesmerizing about how she moved, her alien elegance in complete contrast to his own clumsy human movements. It wasn't just her beauty. It was the way she seemed to be at ease with the world around her. Zara was different from anyone he had ever known, and yet there was something familiar about her. "Hey," Jordan called softly, trying not to startle her. "I didn't expect you to be up this late." Zara looked up, her large eyes meeting his. For a moment, she didn't speak. Then she smiled faintly. "I couldn't sleep. I was thinking about the maps and the planet. There's so much to learn here." Jordan nodded, stepping into the kitchen to grab a drink. "Yeah, it's a lot to take in at first. I'm still figuring it all out myself." He poured himself some water and turned back to face Zara. "You've been here longer than me. Is there anything you're missing about your home?" Zara hesitated. The smile that had appeared earlier faded. She seemed to consider his question carefully before replying. "I miss the weight of it all," she said quietly, almost as if she was talking to herself. "Back home, everything feels so much heavier. The gravity, the air, even the people." Jordan couldn't fully understand what she meant, but he knew enough to know that Zara's people were different. She had told him before that their connection to the gravity of their planet was crucial to their well-being, and it made everything more intense for them. He couldn't imagine how it must feel to be so out of balance, to feel like you didn't quite fit into the world around you. "I get it," Jordan said, his voice soft. Sometimes I feel the same way, like I'm not quite where I'm supposed to be, but we're here now. We'll figure it out. Zara looked at him, her expression unreadable. You think so? Jordan shrugged, leaning against the counter. I hope so. I mean, it's not easy, but we don't really have a choice, do we? We have to make the best of it. Zara didn't respond right away, and Jordan wondered if he had said the wrong thing. But then she stood up slowly and walked toward him. Her movements were fluid, like she was floating just above the ground, her eyes never leaving his. You're right, she said, her voice soft but firm. We don't have a choice. We have to adapt. Jordan didn't know what to say, so he simply nodded. The silence between them felt different now, less uncomfortable and more understanding. He had never thought about it before, but maybe Zara was right. Maybe they were both just trying to figure out how to live in a place that wasn't quite their own. After a long pause, Zara cleared her throat. I've been trying to learn more about your culture, about humans. It's difficult. Jordan was a little surprised by her confession. He hadn't expected her to take such an interest in his world, but he was glad she was trying. Well, you could always ask me. I'm not an expert, but I can teach you about Earth. Zara looked at him thoughtfully. I might take you up on that. For now, though, I think I should rest. I have more to do tomorrow. Jordan nodded and watched as Zara walked back to her room. He was still trying to process everything she had said, but one thing was clear. She was trying. She was trying to fit in, trying to understand him and trying to make the best of the situation. That meant something, didn't it? The next day, after a long day at work, Jordan returned to the apartment, tired but ready for whatever new challenge awaited. As he walked through the door, he was surprised to find Zara sitting at the kitchen table, a strange object in front of her. It was small, about the size of a fist, and it seemed to pulse with a soft, green light. What is that? Jordan asked, raising an eyebrow. Zara looked up from the object, her eyes bright with curiosity. It's something I found while exploring the city. It's a relic from my people's past, a symbol of our connection to the planet's gravity. I thought you might want to see it. Jordan walked over and sat down next to her, intrigued. He had never seen anything like it before. So what's it do? Zara's fingers gently traced the object's surface. It doesn't do anything, really. It's just a reminder of where we come from, of the power we once had, and the weight we lost when we left. Jordan looked at the object, feeling a strange sense of sympathy for Zara. He had never considered what it might feel like to lose a part of yourself, to be disconnected from the very things that made you who you were. But now, as he looked at the glowing relic in Zara's hands, he realized that maybe they were more alike than he had thought. He smiled, a soft, understanding smile. I think it's beautiful. Zara met his gaze, and for the first time in days, she smiled back. Thank you, Jordan. It was a small moment, but it felt significant. It felt like a step forward, a shared understanding. Maybe they weren't so different after all. Jordan woke up early the next day, the soft hum of the city below filling the room. The son hadn't fully understood the weight of it until now. She wasn't just struggling with the physical differences between their species. She was struggling with her very identity. I don't know what that feels like, Jordan said slowly, his voice soft. But I can see how much it's bothering you. You're trying, Zara. That's more than most people would do. Zara looked at him, her large eyes searching his face. For a moment, Jordan thought she might say something, but she remained silent. She looked down at her hands, her fingers gently rubbing the surface of the table. I've been trying to control it, she said quietly. But sometimes I can't. Sometimes I feel like I'm losing myself. Jordan felt a wave of sympathy wash over him. Zara was strong, but she was also vulnerable. She had never shown anyone this side of herself before. It was strange to see her this way, so raw and unguarded. "I know it's hard," he said gently, "but you're not alone here. You have me. I'm not going to pretend I know exactly what you're going through, but I'm here for you. You don't have to do this by yourself." Zara finally looked up at him, her eyes softening just a little. "Thank you, Jordan," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I don't know if I can keep doing this. I don't know if I can keep pretending that everything is okay." Jordan stood up and walked over to her. He had no idea what to say, but he couldn't stand to see her so defeated. He placed a hand gently on her shoulder, offering her what little comfort he could. "Hey, it's okay," he said, his voice steady. "You don't have to pretend for me. Just take it one day at a time. That's all we can do." Zara looked at him, her gaze uncertain but grateful. She nodded slowly, her shoulders relaxing a little under his touch. "Thank you," she said again, this time with a little more warmth in her voice. Jordan stepped back, giving her space. He didn't want to overstep, but he also didn't want her to feel alone. It was clear that Zara had been holding everything inside for so long, and he wondered how much more she could take before it all became too much. As the morning passed, Jordan noticed that Zara seemed a little more at ease. She still had that distant look in her eyes, but there was something lighter about her, something that told him she was beginning to accept that it was okay to not have all the answers. They didn't need to fix everything in one day. Sometimes, just being there for each other was enough. Later that evening, as Jordan sat on the trying to finish some work, he heard a soft sound coming from across the room. Zara had returned to her meditation, her eyes closed as she floated just above the floor, her body relaxed and calm. Jordan watched her for a moment, feeling a sense of peace settle over him. She was still struggling, still uncertain, but at least for now, she had taken a small step forward, and that was all he could ask for. The following days felt strangely quiet, as if both Zara and Jordan were tiptoeing around their unspoken thoughts. The small moments of connection that had started to form between them began to settle into a comfortable rhythm. They no longer avoided eye contact or kept to separate corners of the apartment, but neither were they fully comfortable with one another just yet. Still, there was a strange comfort in the routine they had settled into. Zara was always the first to wake up, as her body needed time to adjust to the planet's gravitational shifts before she could begin her day. Jordan had quickly learned to stay quiet in the mornings, not wanting to disturb her while she meditated. He respected the ritual, even though he didn't understand it fully. It was just something Zara needed to do, and he had no problem letting her have her space. One evening, as Jordan came home from work, he was surprised to find Zara standing in the living room, looking at a holographic map of the planet. Her fingers moved gracefully through the air, making subtle adjustments to the map as she focused on something in the distance. "Hey, Zara," Jordan called softly, stepping into the room. "What's going on?" Zara didn't turn immediately. She was still deep in thought, her expression serious. "I've been studying the planet. There's something about this place, something I don't fully understand yet." Jordan walked over and glanced at the map, but he couldn't make sense of it. It was all alien symbols and lines he didn't recognize. "What are you looking for?" Zara paused, her fingers hovering over the display. "I don't know yet. I feel a strange connection to this planet. Like there's something hidden here, something my people lost long ago." She looked at him then, her large eyes holding his gaze. "I can't explain it, but I have to find out." Jordan, ever the curious person, felt a twinge of interest. He had never seen Zara this focused before. It was like she was searching for something important, something beyond her usual meditation and studies. He wondered if this was connected to the feeling of disconnection she had told him about, the sense that she didn't belong. "That sounds intense," Jordan said, sitting down across from her. "Do you think you'll find it?" Zara gave him a small, uncertain smile. "I hope so. I'm not sure what I'll do if I don't." Jordan nodded slowly, understanding that Zara's search wasn't just about finding something physical. It was about finding herself, too. She had told him that without her planet's gravity, she felt lost, as if part of her was missing. Now it seemed that she was trying to fill that emptiness, to find a way to reconnect with what she had left behind. He wanted to help, but he didn't know how. All he could do was be there for her. "You're not alone in this, you know," Jordan said quietly. "I'm here if you need someone to talk to." Zara looked at him for a long moment, and then her gaze softened. "Thank you, Jordan," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "That means more to me than you know." Jordan smiled, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. Even if Zara didn't understand everything she was going through, at least she wasn't pushing him away. They were beginning to build something together, even if it was small and fragile. The next day, Zara came to him with a request. "I need your help," she said, her voice serious. "I've been working on something, but I can't do it alone." Jordan raised an eyebrow. "What kind of help do you need?" Zara hesitated for a moment, then motioned toward the strange device she had been using the night before. "I need you to help me track something, an energy source. I think it's coming from deep within the planet, but I can't pinpoint the exact location. If you can help me with the calculations, we might be able to find it." Jordan was taken aback. He had no experience with alien technology or planetary scans, but there was something about Zara's determination that made him want to try. "Okay," he said, standing up. "Let's give it a shot." For the next few hours, the two of them worked together in silence, their hands moving over the controls of the alien equipment. Jordan found himself fascinated by how easily Zara navigated the technology, despite its complexity. She seemed to understand it on an intuitive level, as if the technology itself recognized her presence. He watched her fingers move quickly and expertly over the controls, and for a brief moment, he felt like they were working as a team. When they finally finished, Zara stepped back from the console, her eyes scanning the results. "We've got a location," she said softly. "It's close, but not quite what I expected. It's under the surface, hidden away." Jordan looked at the map and saw a small, blinking dot deep underground. "So what now?" Zara hesitated. "Now we go after it." Jordan wasn't sure what Zara expected to find, but he could see how much this meant to her. This wasn't just about curiosity. It was about finding something she had lost. She had been searching for a way to feel whole again, and this discovery could be the key. He didn't ask any more questions. Instead, he just nodded. "Let's do it." Later that night, after they had made their plans, Jordan sat alone in his room, thinking about everything that had happened. He had never expected his life to be like this, living with an alien roommate, helping her with her quest to find something that would give her a sense of belonging. Yet somehow it felt right. They were two people from completely different worlds, trying to make sense of their lives together. Jordan had no idea what they would find when they went after the energy source, but for the first time in a long time, he felt a sense of purpose. He was part of something bigger than himself, and he was helping Zara in a way that only he could. As he lay in bed, the weight of the day settling in, he couldn't shake the feeling that something important was about to happen. Whether it was the discovery of the energy source or something else entirely, he knew that whatever came next, it would change everything. The following morning, Jordan and Zara prepared for their journey. The excitement in the air was palpable, though neither of them spoke much about it. Jordan could sense the gravity of the situation, how much this search meant to Zara. He had never seen her so focused, so determined. She wasn't just looking for a hidden energy source. She was searching for a part of herself, something deep inside that she had been missing since the moment she had left her home planet. Zara had arranged everything they would need for the journey. She had packed a small bag with supplies, but Jordan wasn't sure what else to expect. There was no telling what dangers might be lurking on the planet's surface or beneath it. Still, there was no hesitation in her eyes, only a quiet confidence. Jordan, on the other hand, felt a nervous excitement building inside him. He wasn't used to doing things like this, traveling across unfamiliar terrain to find something unknown. But something about Zara's presence made him feel braver than he had ever been. He wasn't just following her lead. They were in this together. They left the apartment early, just as the sun was rising. The city was still waking up. The streets, empty except for a few other early risers heading to work. Zara led the way, her long strides quick and purposeful. Jordan followed closely behind, trying to keep up as they moved through the city and toward the outskirts, where the landscape became more rugged. As they made their way through the rocky terrain, Jordan couldn't help but be amazed by how beautiful the planet was. The air was thin but breathable, and the landscape stretched out in all directions, vast and open. The mountains in the distance looked like jagged sculptures, towering over everything else. Despite the beauty, there was an eerie feeling to the place, like something was waiting just beyond sight. Zara didn't speak much as they walked. She seemed lost in her thoughts, her eyes scanning the land as if she were looking for something beyond the horizon. Jordan didn't mind the silence. It gave him a chance to think about everything that had brought them here. He had known Zara for weeks now, and though they had shared moments of connection, there was still so much he didn't understand about her. The two of them reached a small clearing after a few hours of walking. Zara stopped and turned to face him. "We're getting close," she said, her voice steady but tinged with excitement. "I can feel it." Jordan nodded. He could feel it too, though he wasn't sure what it was. There was something in the air, a quiet hum that seemed to come from deep within the planet, like a heartbeat pulsing under the surface. Zara looked at the ground, her eyes narrowing as she scanned the area. "It's underground," she said, her voice low. "We'll need to dig." Jordan was about to ask how they were supposed to do that when Zara reached into her bag and pulled out a small handheld device. She pressed a button, and the device extended into a long metallic rod. "This should help," she explained. "It's a tool that can break through the surface. It won't be easy, but it's the only way." Jordan watched as she activated the device, the rod humming to life with a soft glow. Zara knelt down and began to work, carefully pressing the rod against the ground. The device vibrated as it cut into the rocky soil, making a low, steady sound as it burrowed deeper. Jordan stood back, unsure of what to do. He didn't know anything about this kind of technology, but Zara moved with such purpose, like she had done this 1,000 times before. There was a certain confidence in her movements that made Jordan feel even more like an outsider. She wasn't just searching for a physical object. She was reconnecting with a part of herself that had been lost, and that was something he couldn't fully grasp. After several minutes, Zara stopped. She wiped the sweat from her brow and looked up at Jordan. "It's deeper than I thought," she said, her voice tinged with frustration. "I'm going to need to push through." Jordan took a step forward. "What can I do to help?" Zara looked at him, her eyes softening for a brief moment. "Just stay close. I don't know what." "We'll find down there, but I need you here." Jordan nodded and moved closer to her, standing just a few feet away. He wasn't sure what kind of danger they might face, but he trusted Zara. If she said they needed to continue, then they would. Zara worked for another hour, pushing the device deeper into the earth. The ground seemed to resist, but eventually, there was a sudden shift and the rod made a satisfying click. Zara smiled. a look of triumph on her face. "I think we're there," she said, her voice full of excitement. She stood up and wiped her hands on her pants. "Let's see what's inside." Jordan stepped forward, trying to contain his own excitement. He had no idea what they were about to uncover, but the anticipation was almost too much to bear. Together, they crouched down and carefully began to clear away the loose soil around the opening. The hole was small but deep, just wide enough for them to fit through. Zara reached into the hole and pulled out a small, glowing object. It was nothing like anything Jordan had ever seen before. The object was shaped like a crystal, with swirling patterns that seemed to shift as Zara turned it in her hands. "This is it," Zara whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "This is what I've been searching for." Jordan looked at the crystal, mesmerized by its glow. He could feel its energy, like a subtle pulse coming from deep inside. He didn't fully understand what it meant, but he knew it was important. Zara had found what she was looking for. She held the crystal up to the light, her eyes shining with wonder. "This is the connection," she said softly. "The lost energy of my people. With this, I can finally feel whole again." Jordan didn't know what to say. There were no words that seemed enough for the moment. He simply stood there, watching as Zara held the crystal close, her face filled with awe. They had done it. They had found what she had been searching for all along. And for the first time since he had met her, Jordan truly understood. This wasn't just about an alien search for power. It was about finding something lost, something that could bring her peace, and he was there, beside her, every step of the way. The days after their discovery felt like a dream to Jordan. He couldn't stop thinking about the glowing crystal Zara had found, how it seemed to pulse with an energy all its own. It was strange to think that something so small could mean so much. To Zara, it was the key to everything, her connection to her people, to her home. It was a symbol of something lost, something she had been searching for since she arrived on this planet. Zara had kept the crystal close, never letting it out of her sight. She spent hours each day studying it, trying to understand its true power, and how it could help her reconnect with her roots. Jordan could see the change in her. She was more focused, more at ease with herself, and though she still had her moments of doubt, she seemed more whole than before. One evening, as they sat together in the apartment, Zara turned to him, her face serious but calm. "I've been thinking," she said, her voice softer than usual, "about everything that's happened. I don't think I can go back to the way things were. I'm different now." Jordan looked at her, not entirely sure where this conversation was headed. "What do you mean?" Zara hesitated for a moment, then reached for the crystal, which lay on the table between them. She picked it up, holding it gently in her hands. "This," she said softly, "it's not just an energy source. It's a part of me, and now that I have it, I don't think I can just return to my old life. The gravity, the way I felt back home, it doesn't feel as important anymore. I've learned something new." Jordan felt a surge of emotion. He wasn't sure if he was happy for her or worried. The Zara he had come to know seemed to be evolving, changing in ways he didn't fully understand. But he knew one thing for sure. He wanted to be there for her. "So, what does that mean for you?" Zara looked at him, her eyes filled with both wonder and uncertainty. "I think it means that I need to stay here, with you. I don't belong back there. I belong here now, with you." Jordan wasn't sure how to respond. He had never expected this, but somehow it felt right. In a way, he had known this moment would come. Zara was searching for something deeper than just a physical connection to her planet. She was looking for peace, for a sense of belonging that she hadn't been able to find until now. "I'm not going to lie," Jordan said, his voice steady. "I never thought I'd be living with an alien, let alone helping one find what she's been searching for. But now that we're here, I don't think I want to change anything. Zara's gaze softened, and she set the crystal back on the table. She moved closer to him, sitting beside him on the couch. You've been my anchor. You've helped me more than you know, Jordan. I've felt lost for so long, but now I finally feel like I'm starting to understand who I am. And that's because of you. Jordan felt a warmth spread through him. He had never thought of himself as a savior or anything special, but hearing Zara's words made him realize how much their bond had grown. They had helped each other in ways they couldn't have imagined when they first met. Zara smiled, a genuine, soft smile that lit up her face. It was the kind of smile that made Jordan's heart skip a beat. I never expected this, she said, but I'm glad it's you I'm sharing this with. Jordan reached out, his hand brushing against hers. It was a small gesture, but it felt meaningful. I'm glad it's you too, he replied. I don't know what the future holds, but I know that whatever it is, we'll face it together. They sat there for a moment, neither of them saying anything. The silence between them was comfortable, filled with the understanding that things had changed, but not necessarily for the worse. They had both been searching for something, Zara for her connection to her people, and Jordan for a sense of purpose. It was funny how, when they least expected it, they had found what they needed in each other. Later that evening, as they stood on the balcony, looking out at the city below, Jordan asked, So, what happens now? Now that you have what you were looking for? Zara stood beside him, her eyes focused on the distant skyline. Now I can be myself, without the weight of my past holding me back. I don't need to return home to feel whole. I have everything I need right here. She turned to him, her eyes shining with a mixture of gratitude and affection. I have you. Jordan didn't know what to say. There was so much he wanted to say, but words didn't seem enough. Instead, he just smiled and nodded. I'm glad you're here. As the night grew darker, they stood together in silence, watching the stars begin to twinkle in the sky. It was strange to think how far they had come since that first, awkward, meeting in the apartment. Back then, they were two strangers, one from Earth and one from an entirely different world. Now, they had become something more, something neither of them could have predicted. Zara had found a part of herself that she had been searching for, and in doing so, she had changed. Jordan wasn't sure where their journey would take them, but he knew that no matter what happened, he would be there by her side. They didn't need to say anything more. The connection between them was undeniable, and for the first time, both of them felt like they were exactly where they were meant to be.